in terms of, because I've actually seen questions that were kind of leading a little bit where people were asking you, can, one sort of tribe become, like sort of a country? And then you actually used, Djibouti and the ACEs, and, a guy would have used Qatar, which is, no bigger than Hargeisa, and it is a country. So, like some of these things, but in terms of the descent, right? Because there are Somalilanders in Mogadishu, and I think there's like about seven of them, not 700,000.
Oh, I met many. But
Yeah.
but to be clear, this is one of the allegations that, oh, I don't really have any direct knowledge of Somaliland. I met Somaliland Americans. I met representatives in the United States of the various parties of Somaliland. I met Somaliland's official representatives. My close friend, who and have remained close friends, and he was my camel milk supplier, Ambassador Abdul Fattah in Djibouti. And I could go on. Dame Edna would testify that I have gone out of my way to be helpful to her on many occasions. She is not shy about her opinions.
That's the so she sort of channels every Somalilander, so to speak, in terms of. But where I was going with it is, let's say obviously if the majority, and I think you concur with that.
I said that openly. I said that in the article.
The majority are actually, sort of in terms of self-determination, are actually, wanting an independent Somaliland. Should, the majority be held sort of, hostage to the wants of the minority? Because again, democracy, doesn't please everybody, and unfortunately, that's how it is. Right. Well, what's your thought about it?
If since there is a clear majority, and I have pushed this point to Somali unionists, that since there is a clear majority for independence, for recognition as an independent state, why are the political leaders so threatened by that minority? I have independent information about the last election, that the Electoral Authority declined to provide voting stations in some pro-unionist areas.
In Somaliland.
In Somaliland, yes. So why, since you have the majority, why can you not allow a voice and full political representation of the minority view? You're not threatened by it. Why not?
Honestly, this is news to me, and it's something that we're going to have to actually dig into, because it is an explosive allegation, especially if the authorities have actually done that. It's something we
right. And note that I said in some of those areas.
Even if it was, one precinct, that's acceptable, especially if that happened because of their pro-union inclination, right? Because again, I doubt it would have actually made any difference.
Yes, yeah, that's why there's really no threat. So you may as well be magnanimous.
Right. And again, that's the, like the idea that sometimes, like obviously Somalia, what they have is, you've got a minister of like finance who is from Somalia, and you have members of parliament.
The deputy prime minister.
Correct. But here's the problem. They don't really represent anybody, because in Somaliland, there is a parliament that's been duly elected, right? So again, unfortunately, the international community, and maybe by extension, you were complicit in the fraud that Somalia has been perpetrating in the world. That actually says, no, look, Somaliland is actually on the seat. Now, we're not, the point is not that they don't actually represent anybody. Maybe they represent, a minority, but to actually pretend, and the entire world to actually go along with the premise that, Somaliland is actually here, right? Don't worry about the Somaliland that holds elections and does all sorts of things on its own. We have, these folks, it's a little bit disingenuous. And I think those things need to be sort of talked about the same way when, like somebody wearing Somalia flag gets arrested in Hargeisa. So again, we'll split the difference, and